When we enter the hub, we find a city that is alive and bustling. There are stores everywhere, but there are a few that are of note. First, we see iguana bits. I'm not too sure of that, but we do find a gun shop. This is Beth's shop. As the guards at the entrance say, she is definitely good for gossip as well as for weapons. Now, the weapons she offers aren't anything particularly special. There's another shop for that we'll discuss later. However, we do find a number of items that we can certainly use. She is a shop that's worth checking out. Of course, her gossip is also good. We can ask her questions and get some answers. She especially tells you who to avoid in the city, which can come in very handy. If we exit the gun shop, we'll find that there is a lot more to see. There's a job board that Beth tells us about right across the street. And there we find out that they're hiring caravan guards as well as special positions. Keep in mind that that is a pretty dangerous job. Now, we'll also find a water merchant to the south. And that's important because this is how we can extend the number of days that we have to complete our quest for a water chip. Just come in, we talk to the merchant here, we ask them if they have a water chip. If we tell them that the water chip is broke, we're looking for a replacement, they will turn around and offer to send water to our vault for a price. The price isn't that high, it's only about $2,000. So it works for us. And we'll go ahead and send some water back to the vault. We do get warned that that means that raiders could possibly follow the caravan. But again, since you're on a time limit here, it's well worth taking. Once we ensure that no one's going to die back at the vault while we're looking for a water chip, and we've extended our time, I want to show you that here in the middle of these buildings, you will find a library. Now, this is good for two reasons. One is if you ask her about a water chip, you're going to end up getting a disc from her. If you use this disc, this hollow disc, it's going to give you information on Vault 12, Vault 13, and Vault 15. Now we've already been to Vault 15 and we're from Vault 13, but we haven't heard about Vault 12 except for a little bit when we were in Shady Sands. If you remember, the lady standing right beside the entrance there, beside the leader, had said that she was originally from Vault 12, or was it 15? No, I think she was from Vault 15. In any case, we need to get to Vault 12. And why is that? Because Vault 12 has a water chip. But where is Vault 12? Well, we also get that from the data. We can figure out approximately where it's located, the fact that it is underground. We get a lot of information that we can use. So it is well worth speaking to the librarian. As well, while you're here, you can go ahead and browse the books that she offers. These books, if you use them, will all add to your skill points, but you're going to have to buy them or trade for them. And they're not cheap. That being said, with the amount of information you can get and the usefulness you can get out of the skills, it's well worth knowing where the library is. There you can see that we have 114 days left on the left side of the screen. That's all the time we have to get that water chip. If you check the bookshelves here, they're pretty much empty. But now we head over to the Necropolis. Now the Necropolis is where Vault 12 is located. But the question is, can we find it? The Necropolis is a very large area, and as you can see, it is filled with ghouls. There are ghouls just standing everywhere in large groups. It's very creepy. If you stay far enough away from them, then they won't attack you. Here I headed inside the motel. Searching through the desk, I'm able to find some more equipment. So I do suggest that you search everything you can. Now, with that being said, know that if you search a room with a ghoul in the room, they will attack you. So be ready to fight them. There is no issue with killing the ghouls that are here. If you want to, I selected to not kill them unless I really had to. I did, however, loot everything that I could. And stim packs. Stim packs are always useful. Some of the walls are blown right through. And so it makes it easy enough to travel between the rooms. You can talk to some of the ghouls that are inside these rooms. They don't really have much to say, though. After getting my bearings, I decide I'm done with this motel, or what's left of the motel anyway. And I decide I'm going to go and check out this sewer lid here, which is right by where all these ghouls are. I also see that there is a building nearby. I decide to go check that out, but I got too close to the ghouls and they attack. What's interesting about this is as long as you stay out of range, they're not going to bother you. But the minute that you get too close, it's like they suddenly notice you're there. Luckily, me and Ian can handle them. They're not really all that dangerous. Because they're not aggressive unless you get too close, I, didn't feel like using them for target practice, but given that these ones we did get too close to, we ended up having to kill them. And as you can see, they don't do much damage. They're not really anything to worry about. They also, however, don't carry anything. At this point, I can open the sewer lid easily, and we go ahead and climb down. And we are in the sewers. There are a lot of rats down here, from small to large. Those are greater mole rats. They pack a bit more of a punch. And we begin exploring the sewers. It is not the nicest place to travel. It's dark, and like I said, it's covered in rats and bodies. They are primarily ghoul bodies or zombie guards, but they are all dead. Although that's interesting, isn't it? Because zombies are already dead, but these zombie guards are, I guess, torn apart. Fully dead? Fully dead undead? We keep heading north, and we come across a ghoul that tells us not to shoot. When we speak to him, we find out he's the leader of the ghouls, and that the ghouls are generally a peaceful people. We talk to him, and he tells us that there's another group of ghouls that are not as peaceful, that are far more warlike, and he, when asked about a water chip, tells us that there is a water chip in the vault underground. However, they need that water chip because their water pump has broken. He asks if you can fix the water pump. If you tell him that you will go ahead and find it, and they will let you go. This begins your quest to fix the water pump and find your water chip. Both of which are going to happen here at the Necropolis. After talking to him and getting instructions, you're going to head to the east. You head out through the sewers, past the ghoul guards who aren't going to bother you. You don't have to worry about them. It's still very creepy. Not exactly a place I would choose to vacation in, but we work our way through the sewers and past all the many rats that are in our way. We have to explore a bit to find what it is that we're looking for. Because really we're just in this long stretch of sewer and we don't know where anything is. Be ready to fight a good number of rats. As you can see, they started coming out all over. There really is a lot of them. Luckily, they're not hard to kill, and they don't do a lot of damage. They will annoy you by attacking you every 2 feet, though. I almost feel bad wasting bullets on the rats, but we work our way through as I shoot the little rats. I think Ian enjoys stepping on them. He might enjoy it a little too much, you see? Look at him there. He enjoys it. Of course, I have to reload my weapon because I'm not kickboxing the rats like Ian does. Feel it's a little more humane. I end up giving Ian some ammo because I'm tired of watching him kickbox rats. It's very annoying. And once we've got that dealt with, we continue on. Walking up through the sewers in the dark and hearing the rats chitter and scrape, it's just very disconcerting at times. Especially when you never know if what you're coming to is a way through or just a dead end. And we do hit a dead end a couple times in our travels through the sewers, and this is one of them. And this particular dead end is filled with greater mole rats. Like I said, they are a little bit tougher, they do a little more damage, but you should be able to take them pretty easily. Again, having Ian with you for this will make it even easier. Here you can see that it does take a number of hits to actually take them down, unless you get a crit. After looking around, I can clearly see that we are in a dead end, and I have to tell Ian we have to turn around, retrace our steps. We have to find our way back through. And so we head back, past all the squished rats, and up the ladder we go. At this point, I'm not sure what's going on. We look around, we seem to be in a hallway. There's a bookshelf. It's a closed hallway out, though there's no particular way to get out of this hallway, so that's not good. We grab and loot what we can from the bookshelf, from the long closed-in hallway. The rest of it is really just junk. And at this point, we have to head back down the hole because there's no way out. At this point, we notice that there is another way to the left, so we take that and head north, up what seems to be just a long tunnel. Continuing north in this way, we come to yet more tunnel. It's gonna open up here, and we see that we've come to a corner, only one way to go, and luckily we see a ladder. Now, This is confusing too because again, if we're climbing up, remember, we want an underground vault. Still, there's no other way. So up we go. This opens up inside of a building. And this building once again is inhabited by ghouls. After getting our bearings and seeing exactly where we are, Ian and I decide to make our exit. Once we've exited the building, we look around. There's a lot of wrecked cars, a lot of garbage, pretty much the norm for this area. There's some old garbage cans, some old newspaper dispensers. As we look up the street, we see a very large mutant. Now, this is the first mutant we've seen. As we walk up the street, he doesn't seem bothered by us. He obviously sees us, but he doesn't attack. So we head down the sewer. And now we're in another part of the sewers. But it has just as many rats. We're traveling enough sewers at this point that we could start installing lights down there if we had the gear. But we continue to explore. And we find more mole rats. And these guys heard us coming. They came all the way around a corner to get us. I thought Ian was gonna attack the mole rat, but he just keeps going further down, appearing to go for the last one, which is fine because I can handle myself. Of course, Ian starts bravely yelling at the animal while it attacks me. Because Ian likes to yell. We make pretty short work of these mole rats, and we continue on our way, looking for either a water pump or an entrance to a vault. And of course, we get attacked by rats about every 2 feet. They are everywhere. I haven't met a single cockroach yet, but I have found rats everywhere. And this mole rat likes to squeak. See, it yells like Ian. And there, Ian hit me by accident when he was shooting the mole rat. Oh, Ian. Here I see a pile of something on the floor. There's one mole rat left, so we gotta make sure that he's down first. But once we get him down, I had to check out what it is I'm seeing on the floor there. And it's a pile of junk. It's an assorted pile of parts. We pick that up. After all, we were told that we need to repair a water pump, right? Maybe it's parts for that. Since we've hit a dead end, we head back to where we came down. and I have a very bad feeling that the water pump is being guarded by the mutants. We come up, and sure enough, the buildings right here where the water pumps are full of mutants. I try to be strategic about it, taking them out one at a time, but it's clear to me that it's going to be impossible after a certain number. There's a large number of them with a particularly nasty super mutant off to the side in the front. However, this one's here all alone, so after taking out the one that was guarding the sewer hole, we take out this one, and that at least gives us two less to worry about. Now, the regular mutants aren't that bad when you take them on one, even two, but when you start mixing super mutants in, or you have more than two, that can get challenging. At this point, we've taken out everyone that we can that's all alone, and we save game. Don't forget to save. Why? Because one single crit from these guys can mean game over. That's why. And here is the super mutant. I choose to take a shot at him from the door. Now keep in mind, you can walk in and talk to him. However, if you talk to him, you're only going to get two options. Fight to the death, or get teleported to a very high level area where they're going to kill you and you can't get out at the level you're at. So, just fight. Now, do not run into the building. You can see the outlines there as I'm firing. There are mutants in the other room. Those mutants are going to hear the gunshots because they're not that far away. Ian never listens, so Ian goes rushing in like a fool. He's standing in the middle. Super mutant has a laser gun and is shooting at me, and I'm knowing that this all spells trouble. I stay in the doorway. I take my shots, trying to do as much damage as I can before the rest come. Now, it looks like the super mutant's dead. He's not. He got knocked down. Now, he did get critically hit, but that just means that he took a large number of hit points damage. It doesn't mean that he's almost dead. The super mutant here has a lot of hit points. I continue to fight. I yell for Ian to come out. Ian doesn't listen. Ian never listens. And yeah. Now, the one mutant with the flamethrower does take out one of the other mutant buddies of his by accident, but in doing so, Ian bites the dust. No! Ian! I yell as I walk around the corner, because I know that I'm going to need to heal, and I'm going to need to kite these guys. There's too many for me to take them all alone with a super mutant there. And Ian ain't getting up. Ian is ashes. And so with this much of a head start, you might think that I'm way too far ahead, but I'm not. Considering that I'm going to need time to load my gun, I'm going to need to stay far enough away that at least only one of them can get at me, and that's the super mutant with the laser gun. I need to keep distance between us. Especially since Bubba over there has a flamethrower. Now, a crit from a laser gun will cut you in half. A crit from a flamethrower is going to burn you to ash. So, don't be afraid to kite them. Here I'm using corners to my advantage. This will give me time to load my weapon, time to move if I need to, if I need more time for stim packs. In this case, I was trying to see how close I could get them to get a shot off around the corner since I had my weapon loaded. But all three of them get there around the same time, which isn't going to work for me. So, the kiting continues. At this point, the leader breaks off and goes the other way, and that is good. That is going to work in my favor. So I continue kiting the other two. I want to make sure that they are far enough away from him that I'm only dealing with those two. Remember, one of them still has a flamethrower. I want to be close enough to hit them, but I want at least a turn or two of hitting them before they're going to get to me. Now here I'm probably being a little overly cautious, but I'd rather be too cautious than not cautious enough. Here I'm trying to see if I can take them out or at least do some damage on the way. I get off 2 shots. Barry is getting hurt. And the other guy is still yelling at me. I don't like being yelled at by mutants. It's very frightening. So I continue kiting and shooting as I can. Here I'm out of ammo, so I want to get more distance between us so that I have enough time to really load up on my ammo before I have to worry about them. Which means I can't stay still for too long. See, if you load your weapon, then you're using up a good portion of your movement points. You might only get to move 2 spots. And here we can see this guy still has 1 more burst from his flamethrower. That's a problem. However, at some point, I'm just gonna have to shoot and hope. But I'm still out of ammo. So, kite them a little longer, just to buy myself some time. Then I'm able to reload my weapon. Kite them a little longer. Of course, I'm not moving as far this time, but just hoping to have enough distance to keep myself from ending up roasted like Ian. And bam. Now we're down to 1. It's 1-on-1. And I like those odds a lot better. Put a little more distance between us, because I've already made 2 shots. And then I turn around, and the battle is on. At this point, though, there's only one of them, and that's good. Unfortunately, shotguns run out of ammo pretty quick. However, they do more damage, so... Which do you prefer, right? As I'm kiting him along, I'm turning and firing, and finally, I've got him. At this point, I can loot the bodies, but don't forget, that leader is still somewhere over there. And there are ghouls inside the buildings. Don't want to go near them when we're in combat, because that will definitely make them aggro on us. After looking around, I go ahead and I loot the bodies. This guy's got nothing. Finally get to the second guy, and he's got the flamethrower. We'll take that. We can clearly see the pump there from the hole in the ceiling. Those are the water pumps that we need to fix. And there's that super mutant leader with the laser gun. Ouch. He turns and shoots his laser at us, and we realize, uh-oh, we're out of ammo. We have to reload the gun. That means we're gonna kite him a little bit because those lasers hurt. Since there's a corner on this little wall here that's standing the portion of it, I'm gonna try and use that to my advantage. Because he is hurting me. Go ahead and use a stim pack. But I don't get it off before he hits me. Luckily, I can use it after. And now, I want to try and get around the corner. Make it a little more difficult for him at least. We're out of ammo, so we're going to take this opportunity to load. Move a little more out of the way, because he's pretty close to coming around that corner. And this gives me a free shot. Unfortunately, one of them was a miss. But I did hit him once, so I am hurting him. As you can see, he's at 49 of about 128 hit points. So, you know, I'm whittling him down. But he is a tough, tough opponent. Again here, I'm trying to use the wall to my advantage. He gets in nice and close, so I take full advantage of that and get a couple shots off. One of them is a critical strike. It does over 20 hit points, total of 25. We're whittling him down here, but he's whittling us down too, so it's time for a stim pack. Now be careful when you're aiming with your stim pack, because you can accidentally hit the opponent that you're fighting with the stim pack instead of yourself and heal them, and that's not what you want. At this point, I move to kite him a little more. He's just too close for comfort. I don't like that. And I'm out of ammo. And he is hurting me. Whew. I've just been lucky he hasn't critted me at this point. I try to keep distance between us. He runs out of ammo for his laser rifle. But I know better than to take a super mutant on hand to hand. I'm not high enough level for that. So I get myself a little closer to the hole here. That way, if I have to run, I can. In the meantime, I can hit myself with another stim pack. He's right around the corner there, and I know he's coming. So I position myself. At this point, I have to reload again. I can only get off one shot after this, but it's enough to make him turn tail and run. And now the chase is on, and he's got a good amount of distance between us, which is my fault because I was kiting him. So now he's making me run. I don't like to run. But for him, I will make an exception, because him and his buddies killed Ian, and that's not acceptable. He really is making a good run for it here. He's doing everything in his power to get away, but he doesn't get away fast enough. And vengeance is mine. Of course, I'm at capacity, but I have to make room for the laser gun somehow. So at this point, I have to make some calculations on how much I have to drop to pick up the laser gun. Laser guns are really expensive, and at this point, I'm not really close to getting one, so I'm not going to miss the opportunity of taking it. And this was part 1 of 2 parts of the quest involving the hub and the Necropolis. Keep an eye out for part 2, where we fix the water pump and find Vault 12. It's a lot of fun. And if you could do me a favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe, so that you can keep up to date on exactly when the videos drop. Thank you. Bye.